scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it.
All right, you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy, MJ. If this is your first time tapping in, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. But welcome to another episode with Trap Talk with MJ. I have my man, Ramy, from the Reptile Super Show, one of the biggest, funnest shows ran on the West Coast of the country.
Thank you.
This is an honor to have you right now, bro.
Honored to be here.
How you living, man?
Living good.
Yeah?
Living good.
Now, for a lot of you who don't know, Ramy does not live too far from me. How far is the drive?
5-7 minutes.
5-7 minutes. Well, hold on. Before we move forward, do we sound good? I don't want to get all into this if you don't. Make sure if you guys don't hear us or if there's bad sound, say something in the comments and then we'll fix it. But anyways, so how far?
5-7 minutes, one exit away.
And in Hamul, right?
Hamul, yeah.
So Hamul, so we're from San Diego County, but Hamul's a really awesome, like, I guess, farm country.
It is, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you're in Hamul, you don't feel like you're in San Diego.
No, you're out. You see the stars. You hear the chickens in the morning or the roosters, and it's cool out there.
That's my cup of tea, bro.
Yeah.
That's what gets me out of bed every morning. I have my own little mini farm here. I have a couple alpacas, as you know, and chickens. And honestly, I'm a morning person, but I'm extra a morning person because of like the whole vibe that I'm around. So I don't blame you. Now let me ask you this: born and raised in San Diego, or like what's your background like as far as like where you were raised from?
Crazy background.
Let's hear it.
So both my parents are Egyptian. They were born and married in Egypt and lived there. And then my dad's an engineer. He moved to Amsterdam, and he worked for Heineken Canning. Wow. And me and my little brother, were born in Amsterdam and lived there till we were 4.
That's a gnarly place to be born, bro. Right? Like, wow.
Dutch was my first language. And,
Can you say something in Dutch?
Godverdomme means God damn it, because my dad always said it around the house.
Can you say coolest reptile podcast in the world in Dutch?
I can't.
Okay.
I can say it in Arabic, though. Say it in Arabic. Well, it would just be a bunch of...
Just say it. Hit me with it.
Il podcast, il heel awi.
Yeah, I love it. That shit was hard.
And then we lived in Amsterdam till we were 4, and then moved out here to the United States, lived in Van Nuys and Northridge, and went to school out in the valley over there, San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
And then and lived out there, and then decided to go to school and, moved to San Diego, went to Mesa College, and that's how it all started right there.
So you're about 18 years old when you moved to San Diego?
Yeah. I think 20.
And did you have any family over here, or
no?
Just solo dolo?
Yeah, just friends from high school. A couple friends had a cool house in Pacific Beach.
Oh, there you go.
2-bedroom house. It was $600 a month rent, which is like unheard of,
Yeah.
And it was 4 of us living in that house, all friends from high school, and we just we lived it up over there. I worked at a little tropical fish store and was going to college, and drove this little Hyundai Excel. It barely made it up the hill to college, and and then just started there. They all moved back home, went their own ways, and then I just stayed in San Diego and decided to, make it out here.
So you one of your first jobs was at a pet store, or like how far back does it go with you being involved with working with animals?
Well, I used to be a manager at a Petco in Woodland Hills and Simi Valley, and up there in San Fernando Valley. And then when I moved down to San Diego, I started working at a tropical fish store called Fountains Aquarium.
Okay.
I've been there for 30, 40 years, I think, or maybe even more. And then slowly ventured into reptiles and owned a reptile store. That's how it all started. It just
Now, I can tell you one of the coolest things I love about these podcasts that I do is I'll find something out interesting of the guest that I didn't know, like right before I go live. So, with him being from San Diego, as far, 18 was what year was that? 1990? 93. So my first ball python was in 1994, I want to say. I was a kid. I was like 7 years old. But it was from South Bay Tropical. It was from a pet store called South Bay Tropical, which is in Chula Vista, California. And like I hold that store to my, like, it was next to a Baskin Robbins. Like I remember this store to the day I die. Like that's where all my obsessions started, because every Friday was feeding day for my one ball python. And like I was telling you, I saw all these other big snakes, and even though it was like no like way in hell was I ever getting them, but in the back of my mind I was like, once I'm big enough, I'm gonna have that. You know what I mean? But anyways, that right there touched me, bro. Like in a special way, because the fact that I've never forgotten about that store, and one of the biggest reasons why I like, shout out to the homie Mike, but I run into Mike at shops, and I know Mike from South Bay Tropical. So
so me and Mike used to own that back in the day. Yeah.
So let's talk about like that. Like
South Bay Tropical, they ended up they wanted to close their store, and so me and Mike and a friend Joe, we reopened it,
right.
Renovated it and made it all new again, and we ran that store for a few years, and then Mike bought us out, and now he owns it. But I think he is recently, like maybe 5-10 years ago, he moved it to a new location. But on Main Street, and we owned that store, and it was a great time, and that's how it all started right there. Just the love. I was owning reptiles at the time, but after being in that store and just running it and doing everything in it was just a great experience, eye-opening to all the species and this whole industry.
So if you want, you mentioned eye-opening. How eye-opening is it when you see the difference between like the customers you're getting back then to where the customers you see shopping now? Like, I mean, do you feel like it's essentially almost the same, just a bigger, like more people involved, or do you feel like the hobby has evolved into something you never?
No, it's definitely grown a lot.
Okay,
a lot, and that's how it all started. Was after we sold in the store, I realized that at the end of the day, in that whole South Bay Tropical, we would see that reptile sales beat all the other dog, cat, fish, bird. It would beat the sales, and it was a tiny little section in the store.
Right.
And I just said, I bet I could just do an all reptile store and make it go. So I opened another one in San Diego. This is like in 2005. I opened one in Mission Gorge, Reptile City, and ran that for a few years, and then I ended up selling it to Triple L Reptile, and that store's still today. And Lauren is still taking it to the top, and that store, I still go there and buy my feeders all the time and go and visit.
And like, I mean, you don't blame me for not being such a fan of pet stores, because a lot of pet stores for the most part aren't ran right. And I could tell you, walking into a place like Triple L, it's definitely refreshing. They got their shit together, not only with presentation, but their employees are really nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like super upfront, like as far as like wanting to help you out.
That's how you make a successful business.
You make exactly.
Yeah. It's just customer service, just knowing a customer, even just remembering something about them.
Yeah.
And just bringing that up the next time they come in just makes them feel at home.
So that stood out to me. But now, if we could go back to like back in the earlier, like in the 1990s, with the animals you were selling, were you coming across any kind of legislations that were like randomly coming up back then? Like, how big of a difference is it with laws now than it is?
Yeah, well, thank God for USARK, because we'd be in big trouble. But no, there was nothing of that back in the day. It was all fun and joy, and so.
But how much is? I mean, you couldn't keep venomous and stuff back then.
No.
Those like laws have been in play for a while.
Yeah, they have.
Now, I know there's a lot of stuff in the air with USARK. With like you don't know what state's going to come up with what next legislation, right?
There's new stuff every day. It's wild.
But with California, what has happened that hasn't been already happening? Like, have we faced? I mean, knock on wood. I don't want to fucking say and something happened. But do you feel like we're going to be in a good place with like ball pythons, say, and stuff like that, or like?
We just got to keep our heads up and teach to everyone, about care and responsibility. That's the main thing. It's just, just getting that word out to everyone and teaching. That's the most important part, because the little guys are the future of our industry. So if they don't know, then it's just going to be mess stuff up. That's the whole thing.
And I feel like you're definitely someone who's wanting to look out for anyone who's new into this hobby, because why would you be throwing shows like what you do? I feel like that's a huge, like, for one man to start something that's so addicting for people to want to come to, like I feel like that's the biggest piece of evolving for this hobby, are these shows. So people who are so glued to their phone, making friendships after friendships from somebody from a different part of the country, but then they all fly to this show, and I feel like that's when everything connects. It's funny because me and Matt knew me from me doing the podcast, and he met me at a Slipknot concert, like random at a concert, 60,000 people, right? But then what really brought us together was linking up at shows after that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We always have that story, right? Stories are always left behind, like at shows, especially. I was telling you earlier how much I enjoy the USARK auctions, and guys, I anyone who makes it to a show, that's great. But if you don't make it to the USARK auction, like, there's a huge piece you're missing out on, I feel like, personally. I mean, that's cool. Regardless, if you could go, you could go. But, like, you got to do your best to make it to these USARK auctions and contribute anything you can, or just show up. I mean,
and it's walking distance from the show doors. It's literally a 5-minute walk. And the problem is, I think a lot of people think it's not open to the public. They think it's just for vendors, right? Because we're all going there. But no, the public's definitely invited. Come out, learn, support, bid, win an auction, donate money. That's the most important part of USARK because of what they're doing.
So how long have you been throwing USARK auctions as far as you can remember? Like, how long has that been happening?
Since the second show. And so this one is going to be my 39th show.
Damn. Respect.
Whoa. 14 or 15 years. So I've been doing it 15 years. And it's just, it's really grown to what it is. One day I just turned on YouTube and typed in Reptile Super Show, and I saw so many videos, and that's what shocked. I was like, whoa, like, yeah, this is stunning. Like a little 6-year-old kid showing you how to navigate through my website to find the directions to the Reptile Super Show. Right. And this little 6-year-old kid's making a video about it. I was like, wow. But now there's hundreds of thousands of, maybe 10,000. I don't know how many, but there's a lot.
There is a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot.
And there's so many people. There's the amount of people which show up in general. Like, the thing now, it's like with the hobby being so big, like, you have a lot of like reptile people going, like people who are about it, on top of like the people who are just going because it's a show happening. Yeah. Which reminds me, like, San Diego, right? I don't get me wrong, I love Anaheim, I love Pomona, right? But I feel like those shows are like the big major shows. But like, why not a show like San Diego? Like, how come San Diego isn't something that everyone is trying to like go to? Like, if you can make it to Anaheim, what's the difference of just driving like an hour and a half south to San Diego, in your opinion? Like, what's missing? So
there's a couple reasons. One is the whole one side is water. So we're only working with just, and San Diego's so little compared to LA. That's facts. Demographic, it's just a lot smaller. So, and I think that's the main reason, and then also the pull of the venue's not that big either.
Yeah,
there's no big venues,
Yeah.
Well, the convention center, they don't want me. I don't know. They're just like, we don't really know if we like reptiles. We're kind of scared of them. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. That's what the San Diego Convention Center told me. So that's why we have the San Diego Concourse Civic Center down there. And it's a nice venue. It's cool, but I wish I could make it a lot bigger in San Diego.
Now, there was a Del Mar show. Who threw the Del Mar show? There was a Del Mar show, Reptile Nation or something like that.
I think so. I'm not too sure.
Now, that show, there was a shit ton of people, but it was too crowded. Now, do you feel like that was just another like present location thing? Like, do you feel like there's just no big spot, and there's no spot big enough, no matter where in San Diego, to throw that kind of show? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. But I mean, that Anaheim show, it's 3 acres is the building.
It's humongous.
Huge.
Yeah.
It would exhaust you just walking the show. It'd probably take a person 2 days to walk the entire show if you spent a few minutes at every booth.
Damn. And I asked you earlier before we went live, how close are you to being sold out?
I mean, we're pretty much sold out. It's 440 booths. We have 200 vendors.
So now all this wouldn't have fit in Pomona, is what you're saying? There's no way.
No, it wouldn't have fit in Pomona. It'd be really close. Pomona's about 350 50 booths.
Right.
So yeah, Anaheim's a lot bigger, and it's a great location. It's, right next to Disneyland. It's a phenomenal venue, really clean and professional, and just everything about it. Anaheim's great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as working with the Anaheim, the people who are in charge of like the convention center at Anaheim, are they pretty easy to work with, or are there some people not as easy to work with? Like, as far as like, let's talk about San Diego people and like, I mean, how
San Diego people, they're just like homies. Like they're like the true, like,
right.
I don't know. The guy has worked at that venue since he was like 16 years old, and now he's like a 60-year-old guy, and he's literally worked there the whole time.
Yeah, he's OG,
OG. He gave me a paper one time about the people that played on stage, and it was like Janis Joplin, Pink Floyd, like just crazy, old school
passed
band.
away for a while.
Yeah, people that are, he's all this is the exact wood stage that these people played on. So that was neat.
No wonder he doesn't want to leave.
Right?
He's just living in a past time.
Yeah. And he rides his bike to work every day, and he's a super healthy guy. His name's Rick, really nice guy. So, and I've known him from the beginning, and he tells me the Reptile Super Show is his most favorite show. Like he looks up to it because they do other stuff there, like, like citizenship inauguration kind of thing or whatever. And they do other kind of like weddings and stuff like that. Right. And he's like, I don't look forward to any of that. The only thing I look forward to is the Reptile Super Show. So it's cool.
Now let's back a little bit because, you were talking about being co-owner of South Bay Tropical, and then you sold Reptile City. That's now Triple L. What led you to start being a show thrower, like the guy throwing a show?
So I started Reptile Super Show while I was working at Reptile City, and it's funny you say this because we wanted to go to the Daytona show. Right. We're getting on the plane in San Diego, and I'm looking around on the plane, and I see all these people from the reptile industry, and I said, "Why are we all flying out to Daytona during hurricane season to do something we could all do here in Southern California?" And there was another show that was going on in Southern California at the time, and they were kind of, not, I'd say either like getting out of it or getting burnt out or something. So I just decided, hey, you know what? I could do this. I could create something like this in Southern California. If the largest group of reptile keepers is in Southern California, why are we flying out to Florida to go to a reptile show? I can make it. So I created the name, and I created the whole everything about it, and started it. And I did it at the Scottish Rite Center. That was my first show. The one
Mission Valley.
The Mission Valley.
Yeah, that was old. That one's been there my whole life.
Yeah, it was 2007. That was my first show, Scottish Rite Center.
How many people attended that? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I know it was 90 booths. So to tell you, like, we're at 440 right now, and that one was 90.
90 booths.
And it was sold out. And the lady at the venue said, you could never come back. This is way too of a big event that we could handle at our little venue. And I was like, wow. I was, stunned when I heard that. Shocked and happy. 2007.
Oh, wow. Oh,
2007. Okay. So that was my first show. And then.
But then you're like, fuck, got to find another venue.
Yeah.
Dang. Now, do you remember what kind of vendors you had back then? Like, you primarily ball pythons? Was it like corn snakes? Like, what was?
I don't know if all the ball python morphs were really like out then. There was some. It was just mainly probably just regular and albinos at that time. There wasn't that many crazy morphs at that time. But it's funny. A lot of the vendors that did that show still do my show today. A lot of them. The Camouflage, the Sandfire Dragon Ranch, TSK. Like, I just go through a list of vendors that did my first show that still do. There's a couple vendors that have actually done all 39 shows.
TSK is probably one of the biggest vendors why the homie Forrest would even fly in for this show. I mean, he loves coming to Reptile Super shows, but Colette, right? Was that her name? Colette?
Yeah, Colette.
Dude, he introduced me to her. And, another reason why, Ramy and I are so good friends is because I got introduced to him by Forrest, and Forrest, as you guys know, was like really special to me. So anyone that Forrest introduced me to, and I got to meet him like in person. Right? It was at the Super Shows when I. It
was at the Super Show. It was the second one. The first one he did.
Right.
I because there's I have a couple girls that run my registration booth.
Right.
And the show was so big, and it was in Pomona, and this was his first show. He flew out. And then I said, I never got to meet Forrest. I'm going to go on Sunday and go to his booth and say what up to him. Because I've never met him before.
Right.
And I go, and his table's completely empty. Everything's gone. I said, oh my God, what happened? You know, so I went back, looked in my book, I found his number, and I called up his cell phone, and his wife answers, Desiree.
Yeah.
And I was like, where's Forrest? Did he already leave? And she said, yeah, he sold everything on Saturday and he bounced. And I was like, wow. You know, I guess he had ball pythons at the time. I'm not sure what he had. Would he have had ball pythons?
Yeah, he did. He had a ball python collection that he ended up selling for a lot of money. But yeah, he at the beginning time of all that, he was ball pythons was his game.
Yeah, so he sold out of all of them on Saturday and then ended up catching an earlier flight to go back to Florida.
Sounds like him.
Yeah, so I didn't even get to meet him the first show, so I made it a point to meet him at the second show. So,
okay, and that was your first time meeting him as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, what a treat.
And I see him, and he sees me, and I just smile, and I say, "What's up, Forrest?" He said, "What's up, Ramy?" And it was like we just knew each other. It was cool, you know. Yeah,
that's kind of how it was with me and him too. Like I met him and Stephen Cush together, and like we built such a bond because by then we were already doing the podcast too. Oh no! I met Stephen. What is that? After or before? I don't know, but it was like you said when I first ran into him and met them. We just talked like it was like nothing. You know what I mean? Like if we hung out before. Yeah. And it's crazy. That's the one thing I fucking love about this damn hobby is like, you know, my kind of friends that I was building prior to the reptile game were like industry club friends, like going out party friends, right? And if you're like connected in a party scene, everyone's gonna like you, right? But a lot of friendships weren't genuine, you know. And when you're down in a partying scene, you kind of see who your true friends are, right? I was down a lot in the party scene. I was up a lot too, right? But the thing is, like, I've actually built some legit lifetime, I feel like lifetime friendships coming into the reptile game. And I feel like really being in hands of people who are really looking out for my best interest. And I don't know if that's just what animals bring. I don't know. But how many people? I think
it's not just animals. I think it's reptiles, because when you tell somebody that you have a snake or you breed snakes, they're like, they always got that snake story or that reptile story. But if you tell people, yeah, I got a couple pit bulls, they're like, oh, cool. There's never a story that comes after it. You know, there's always something intriguing about the reptile owner and a discussion about seeing a reptile, talking about one, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's so funny you say that. And I feel like that's been such a true thing to where that's why reptiles are becoming more popular. Like they said, we're in a time where our generation don't even want to take care of a dog nowadays because it's too much work. A reptile, you don't have to do so much work. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's crazy to think, you know, because you got to think like everyone, you got to think growing up, Matt, it was all about having a dog, right? Dog and cat, right? Even though I was different, I had a snake. I was all about snakes, but for the most part, every kid wanted a dog. You know, it wasn't really an exotic pet.
Maybe a hamster was a dog.
But now you got to look at the nowadays, it's like completely switched around. Like, I don't know. I feel like reptiles are such a popularity and such a demand
Everyone's
now.
got a beardy or a chameleon.
And I really feel like it's a good test to see if a kid's meant for a pet, because not everyone's meant for a pet.
Sure.
And if you can't take care of a fucking ball python, you shouldn't breed anything, I feel like. Because, I mean, that's a very straightforward, like, someone could tell you how to take care of it. Like a pet shop could give you, hopefully, good advice on how to take care of a ball python, and you could simply neglect those steps. That just means you're not meant to take care of an animal.
And it'll probably still do fine. You know? But no, true. When you tell people, you know, the snake eats once a week, they're like, wait, once a week? Yeah. Okay, I can do that. You know, it's like zero responsibility. Also with the housing market and the way it is and people downsizing and moving and, you know, you can't do that with a dog or a cat. It's hard. You know, even places now, if you go to rent a place, they're like, what kind of dog do you have? What kind of cat? What kind of breed of dog do you have? You know, it's just.
That is a true fact. Like me and my wife we're ready, you know, we're talking about buying a house, right? We're like real close and the market doesn't look as good as we want. So we're like, all right, maybe what if we do backup plan? What if we have to rent? Like, let's be ready to rent. But I'm like, you understand we have 2 pit bulls, right? Yeah. And how the only reason why we got this place here is because I didn't go through no property management. I went straight to the owner and did my typical MJ closed and told them that they're paper fucking like certified like canine school, even though it was all bullshit. You know, dogs are a fucking pain in the ass. But seriously, we got so lucky on this place. And, you know, we're blessed to be here for 6 years, but now it's time to dip. And I'm like, you know, I told her, I was like, if we have to rent, I'm not worried about fucking the reptiles. I'm worried about how we can explain we have 2 pit bulls because the neighbor down the street might despise them or might be a cat lady or a bird lady or just somebody who hates dogs. But a lot of people hate fucking Rottweilers, pit bulls, aggressive breed dogs. That's why I don't want an HOA. You know, I'm trying to stay away from HOAs because they're going to give you a limitation on animals in general.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, I can't have limitations. I'm trying to bring my alpacas with me. Fuck. What am I going to do if I can't bring Tia and Tamara? Damn, I don't know what I do. You have space on your property? You want 2 alpacas?
I have space, but I don't want 2 alpacas.
Okay. Oh shit! Hey, but their wool's worth good money. I'm telling you, man. 1,500 alpaca each year.
Is there some kind of tax breaks or something too in your own animals?
Yeah, because it's what agriculture or something like that. Yeah, so it's any kind of farming gives you some sort of tax.
So you got to have them at your property. Then you claim them as dependents, or I don't know how you do it.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, like the fact that the chickens I raise, basically the eggs are fed to my lizards. Like anything I put into the chickens is a write-off. Like anything that.
Do you ever eat the eggs?
Oh yeah, all the time. But I gotta be like, my wife is like pissed because sometimes I'll pull one that was there for like at least a week. Oh, there'll be like an eyeball or something in it, and she hasn't eaten eggs in a while. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I bet.
But they're good. You just gotta be on top of your pool game. You know what I mean? And like I said, the farm life is something I'm very keen to. I don't mind it. Like. Working I can't tell you, man. I mean, I made it work for so long being a 9-to-5 guy because I wrote my own check. Like I was in sales, right? And then I avoided being in management because I was like, no, because then you're gonna be responsible for other people, and I'm just not a good person responsible for other people, right? And then sure enough, until I left the sales and went to management, that's when I was like, I am not corporate America. Like I am not built to work for nobody but myself, and probably that's it. And I knew that, you know what I mean? And I just didn't know what that was gonna be until coming into a fucking hobby like this, which, don't get me wrong, like it's not just the animals, like, this room solely, you have green tree pythons, you have emeralds, you have boegas. None of this is, I have game plan to sell any of these animals. Like, this is more of an enjoyment. This is a delicacy, you know what I mean? I did learn a way with the ball pythons because how big of a need ball pythons are, because you understand this hobby's growing, right? And what are people first getting drawn to? A ball python Instagram photo. You know what I mean? I can't tell you how many people are just like hitting me up and like don't even have one snake, but are willing to drop $3,000 on a ball python as their first snake. And I'm just like, do you want to really do this? Like to breed, or do you want it as a pet? But they're like, this is such a gorgeous animal. I just want it as a pet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of has to tell you something right then and there, like, I don't know, like America's fucking land of the goddamn opportunity. Right. But really think about it, like we're doing something we truly love, like, I mean, I love that I don't work for nobody but myself. Yeah. I mean, that could change at any moment. Like I could go back to I'm mentally prepared to go back to the 9-to-5 if I have to, but I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't need to happen, But
because you got a cool boss.
The wife, she's being blocked right now. By the way, check out the sign, Reptile Super Show, September 11th, September 12th. It's going down Anaheim Convention. Pull up the website if you don't mind, just so they can just see where they can get tickets and shit like that. So for anyone out there who wants to know, like, how can because you got so many people like who I've been talking to who are at that level who can vend, like they're ready to vend, but they don't really know the first step. Like,
call me, I'm super cool. I don't bite. I tell.
Is that what you recommend? Is them talking to you?
Call me. Yeah, I totally help every single vendor. I have a personal relationship with every vendor, and just tell them like, hey. Just call me up. Even the first time, I love hearing first time guys because I give them all the great pointers, Right. But buy a nice tablecloth. Don't sit down during the show. Have a smile. Don't look at your phone. Like all this kind of, and be ready and bring the snake. The netting over the booth, and deli cups, where to get them. And I tell everyone, I enjoy telling them how to make their show successful.
I can't tell you how many times I've literally walked by someone's booth because the long look they had on their face, or they just didn't look like they want to be there. Yeah. So I feel like you looking like you want to be there and being engaged with people walking by is a huge piece of you being successful at that show.
I send out an email that explains, like, don't sit, have a big smile on your face, and welcome people. That's how you're going to be successful.
Can you give me the charger, Matt? I feel like that's like, and we were talking about earlier, like the niche now. I mean, the people who are now working in this industry are more business mind focused. You know what I mean? Or they're just more like they get the people skill side of it.
Totally.
Because I hear stories all the time how impossible it was to get any kind of help from anyone back in the day before, like prior social media, right? Like just to get information from you know.
Yeah, or getting like a banner printed, you know, or getting business cards. That was so hard before. Like,
I'm not even talking about that, but that's a huge fucking point too. Like, just to market yourself was a lot of work, which is right because it's fucking funny you say that. But what was I gonna go into? Now you fucked me up. Sorry. No, but okay, so with the growth at shows, right, and people wanting to, you know, get on the vending side of things, like what is the process of like people getting a table before they sold out? Like, is there like a wait list? Is there like a preparation time, or do you feel like there's a certain time where you should want to get your
get it as soon as you can, because we do a first come first serve basis. So you know, the guy that paid me last week, of course, he's going to be closer to the back. Okay. But there's never a bad spot of the show, and that's what I explain to people is don't think because you're in the back you got a worse spot. Actually, some people enjoy being in the back because it gives them more of a one-on-one with the customer. Right. You know, where in the front is people just walk by sometimes and just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to the back. I want to see what's back there. But also what you got in the front, a big smile, great product, beautiful animals. Yeah, you're going to do great. So there's actually not a bad spot at the Reptile Super Show. I tell that to everyone. You know, we have enough people to come through the door. Now,
you have people who've been vending at like your shows for years. Like you have your originals, right? Mm-hmm. Do they have their same spot, same table, just at a sonority?
No, and I just do that because like when you go to the supermarket, you know where the milk is, you know where the cereal, you know where the fruit is. So I kind of want to keep that same layout so they always know, hey, that one guy that I bought it from last time, he's over there in that. And even at a different venue, I'll still kind of copy the same layout of where they were, so people could remember that. Right, and that's important.
I feel like it's a huge piece, you know, because especially because, you know, the people who continue to show up each year after year to your shows are your biggest support, you know, like other than the people who show up, don't get me wrong, but like without the vendors, there's no show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. And without the vendors doing good, there's no show. Now, I mean, how many times is there really a vendor that you have to like tell, look, we're good. Next year, don't come. Like, is that often? I'd have to say never. You've never done that? No. Wow. You've had to kick someone out for stealing, though. Oh, yeah. People that come in the show, yeah. Oh, yeah, we've caught multiple times. We caught a guy one time, or young kids, unfortunately. They were walking around with a bag, and they were just filling it at every single booth. Stashing. And that's why I tell vendors, you got to get the garden netting. You got to make sure you got to secure your stuff. Yeah. There is theft. You know, with such a lot of people, there is theft. I mean, you saw on Miguel's channel, he caught a theft on video. Dude, that was epic. That was. Props, Miguel. That was super hard. Yeah. And it's funny because the first time I met Brian Cusco was at the front of the show, and he was out of breath after chasing him. And he was like, oh, my God, you don't know what just happened. And, like, you know, classic Cusco mode, you know what I mean? Yep. And like, he was like, hi, I'm Brian, you know, and I met it. And it was so funny, bro. But, like, you know, that's a moment I'll never forget being at that show. You know what I mean? And and it's God, you know, I don't think anyone – do you remember hearing about that, Matt? The theft? Yeah, the theft. I feel like that went everywhere. Yeah, that video's got like 300,000 views. It's everywhere, crazy. Bro. You know what I mean? Now, let me ask you this, Matt. How do you feel like about the YouTube attention coming to the Reptile show? Do you feel like that's something that is a good thing or could be a bad thing? Or I love it. So there was these kids back in the day, 2008, 2009. They would come to my show and they would tell me, hey, we're YouTubers. And they were, you know, 14, 15 years old. We're YouTubers and we want to do a collaboration. And I said, okay. And they say, can you announce on the microphone that there's a YouTube collab video going outside and all the YouTubers meet up? And I said, yeah, no problem. And so I went, I grabbed all these kids' t-shirts. They all put them on. I gave them all free t-shirts and I announced it. Hey, the YouTube collab is going to be outside right now. And they went out there. A couple of vendors went out there with some big snakes and they made this big video and all of them were recording it and they loved it. Those same guys come to my show now with their wife and kids. So to tell you, like, they still come to my show every year. Do they keep their YouTube video going? And, you know, I checked one of them and it kind of like died out. You know, it was like a young kid doing his content and he just, you know, but they're great kids. I know probably one of them is watching you now, but you know, they're watching us now. But that's respect. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And that's one thing I admire. Like, you know, a lot of people do talk shit about like, you know, the generation of today, but a lot of them are like fucking learning skills that like adults didn't even learn. Like, that's my daughter. Like, she's on TikTok. Crazy. Doing these videos on how she, you know, she did all these crazy stuff on TikTok. How do you learn that? The other day I was posting a Reptile Super Show video on my TikTok. Unfortunately, I know I'm on TikTok. Are you on TikTok? Fuck TikTok. It's just so cornbally. I can't even post without seeing someone.
Right? That's my daughter, dude.
That's like, dude, I just can't. I'm working. I work on my anger, So, and that thing, that right there, literally just makes me go on fire because I get so. I preach all the time. Oh, fuck your following. Who cares how many people like your shit? And TikTok makes me be a hypocrite of all that because I'll post a sick ass video of my alpaca talking back to me, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna see how many views it got. I'll go the next day, 40 fucking views and like 2 likes. And I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. This is corrupt. And then I look and somebody fucking, doing something weird with an animal is, you know what I mean? I just feel like TikTok's a whole other entity. It's like, I feel like it's good for certain things, like the whole dancing, like that's like the whole like thing for kids. But I don't like TikTok and animals because
my daughter has a 16-second video of her dancing, and she got her doll next to her, and she edited the video where the doll was doing the same dance moves as hers. 300,000 views.
Yeah, that is nuts.
Right?
I just can't compete with that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm good.
But my daughter was
Props
teaching
to
me stuff.
TikTokers. No, I'm not hating. Look, I'm just not a TikToker. I'm not meant for it. So
I am a little bit.
Yeah. So shout out to Ramy. Like shout out to people. Brian Barczyk does it. Like there's people doing it. But then like you have somebody you've never even heard of or seen of in the reptile hobby who has a TikTok and just doing really weird shit with animals. But that's everywhere. That's on Instagram too. That's fucking everywhere.
I have like 4 videos on there. My daughter taught me how to remove my background audio and put a song on the front audio. And she's like, here, Daddy, you got to go like this. So she's a pro. Like, what's up, Ariana? Love you.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the daughter. Dude, help your pops on Instagram, though. He didn't even know how to attach a link to his story.
She doesn't have Instagram.
Oh, see? Your pop. Okay, Instagram's where it's at.
She's all YouTube and TikTok.
Now, let's talk about the social media platforms. I mean, how much marketing push do you have on Facebook compared to Instagram? Is it all the same? Do you feel like
when Facebook was first out, it was great, and then I kind of feel like there was a lot of hate on it, like this crazy hate, and so
please continue.
Yeah. So I kind of like the Instagram platform because it's just liking photos and I feel like it's way more active now, even though I have 120,000 followers on my Facebook page and 22,000 followers on my Instagram page.
Respect.
My Instagram still has a lot more, like back and forth content, like engagement, like there's a lot more engagement on my Instagram compared to my Facebook, which is fine. I think Facebook is, I think Facebook's more family stuff. I don't know. And talking shit,
Yeah, man, there's a complete 180 as far as vibe when it comes to Instagram. And I can't say complete 180 because a lot of the like Facebook ways of hate kind of did dabble into Instagram a little bit. Like those motherfuckers did go to Instagram and they're not doing as well as OG Instagrammers, but it is in both. But Facebook, especially if you're looking for, right? Like if you're up to no good and you're trying to read comments, you're going to find something that's going to bug you in almost any fucking thread of an animal. You know what I mean? And it could just be something to where like you're just offended for the person posting. Like it could just be like, why are they attacking this person off a post,
Yeah.
Or it could be the other way around and you see someone completely neglecting the shit out of an animal, not wanting to get any advice, laughing at people giving you advice, that type of thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel like, to be honest, with all due respect, there are certain people on Facebook why I'll always have a Facebook until they either drop out of Facebook themselves and go to Instagram or whatever. But I always fuck with Facebook because there are a handful of relationships that I respect that I got on Facebook. But other than that, Facebook is literally something where if you're already a toxic person, you're going to be even more toxic if you're solely fucking on Facebook. Just because there's not enough help out there, I don't feel like. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's super political. Like you could have somebody posting something that nobody knows and getting shitted on, right? But then you could have someone who people know posting a picture maybe not even too far off from what the other person posted, but nobody dares to say a fucking word to him. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're going to call out one person, call out the other person. Or just don't call out people at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I feel like that it's so easy to talk about the drama in this fucking hobby to where, like, you're better off just avoiding it, right? And just not talking about it at all. But how much of that kind of, like, stuff have you always seen that's been, like, a part of what you've done? Like, as far as, like, any kind of drama, like, let's just say.
I just don't read, I just don't read them. Or it doesn't let me, sometimes I'll vent to one of my friends and he'd be like, don't read it. Don't even worry about it. It's just a.
Have you seen any of social media drama trickle down to your shows or anything that
Yeah.
you like that
Yeah,
you're
there
like,
has been, but I just whatever, you know. Just-
nothing that's gone out of hand?
Yeah, right. It's all right.
Because that's the thing too. You gotta understand. With all respect to the animal people, but a lot of the energy that's being spent over the phone to another person is not the same energy in person.
Yeah.
Some people wish, oh God, I hope they don't remember the shit I said. You know, and that's another thing. It's like I could tell you, like I'm, you know, in a way, I'm kind of glad what happened to me with this monitor bite because I was gonna go to Daytona and I was looking forward to seeing some people. Let's just say that, you know, and that could have really ruined things. Like if I just going to a show with that mentality and happen to run into people, because like for whatever reason, I have Florida people that just don't like me, you know, and I'm a confrontational person to where like, meaning if we have a problem and I know we have a problem, I see you, we need to discuss it because it eats away at me. That type of shit kind of eats away at me. And I'm working on that kind of stuff. So I was looking to confront some people in Daytona and it didn't happen because of an accident. And I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. You know what I mean? But I feel like, you know, some of that shit could just really ruin something so good that's going for you. You know what I mean? And I feel like for whatever reason, I just wasn't meant to make it to Daytona.
Crazy.
And I'm glad I did it. I really, because I was
Now
ready.
you're on the Super Show.
Oh, woo, I can't wait. Man, I'm telling you. And just guys, if any of you have never been to a super show, you got to understand, like, this shit's going down. And we're in a time in our lives where if any event is happening, take advantage. Like, this is it.
We had to cancel 5. We had to cancel 5 of these events, and it's finally here.
And I did ask you prior, have you gotten any notices about, you know, any kind of changes in rules or anything? And you haven't gotten anything, knock on wood.
0.
So we're solid on that.
We're solid.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. I will say I had a Patreon meeting last Sunday. By the way, join my Patreon page. If you want to support this channel more than subscription, please join my Patreon page. Shout out to my Patreon members. But I had a Patreon meeting last Sunday. And, you know, there's some really legit keepers and big community like up in Pacific Northwest, Colorado, different areas kind of in the West Coast region. What are your plans future-wise as far as doing more super shows other than where's like, you know, the Anaheim, San Diego, Sacramento's one, right? Or
No.
Okay.
So it's Anaheim, San Diego, Pomona at the LA County Fairgrounds.
Right.
And now our new location, Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center, September 2022.
Okay.
And then we're looking to expand possibly Denver and maybe Utah. I don't know. But I like to keep it more, you know, southern, like in my backyard. You know, I like Southern California. I've lived here my whole life. I like going to Vegas. I mean, who doesn't like going to Vegas? So that'd be
I am
cool.
very curious to see what a Vegas show would be like.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk about, like, you know, people talk about Tinley, Chicago, like the area, but Vegas, like, it's a Super Bowl shit.
I
Like,
never wanted to do Vegas. People have always asked me to do it. I never want to do it. But since everything was shutting down through the pandemic, I didn't see a future for the reptile shows. I was like, what's going to happen here? Are they going to keep canceling shows for me? So I said, I'm going to go out to Vegas and go take a look. And I went out there and then boom, it just opened doors. So we will be out there 2022. And yeah, we're excited. It's a big, I mean, it's the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's one of the largest convention centers in the world.
what about my players up in the Pacific Northwest? Do you ever see maybe a Washington show happening?
No, I know those guys up there and I respect them and I don't want to, you know, go out to that area or anything. So.
Oh, because there's other shows being
There are
done.
other shows and yeah, you know, you don't want to step on other guys' toes or whatever. And, you know, and just like I said, I like Southern California, my backyard. It's easy. I know where to advertise, you know, what's new, what's, you know, I'm in with the times and everything. So,
I got a question for you then.
yes.
Because I feel like there's, like I said, there's people in legit ass spots, right? Who could maybe possibly do what you do and maybe throw a show in their area, right? But how difficult do you feel like that is? Like if you have somebody in Washington, you have somebody in Seattle, like, fuck, I want a super show here. But, you know, it just, you're a one-man thing. How you can't do it all, right? You know?
I can't.
So what would be your advice to somebody who would possibly want to throw their own show in their area? Like, what are some homework they should do? Or like, what do you like?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's, you know, it would take days, weeks to tell you what to do and years of experience, you know. I've been doing this for so long.
What's the first step? Find a location, like a venue, would you say?
First step is find a great name.
True.
That's it.
True.
Like the lady from Reptiles magazine, Sandy Quinn. I love her. She's awesome. She was for Reptiles magazine for years. And she told me, Ramy, how did you know to call it Reptile Super Show? I said, I just knew. I just had a feeling. And you know what's funny is Bobby from the reptile store that we were talking about, little Bobby that worked there.
Right.
I was talking to her and I said, I want to name my show. Help me name it. And she's actually the one that came up with the name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it is a catchy, and it is like Super Show. Like it's the show of shows.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. There's another show. It's called the Lowrider Super Show. And I get an email every now and then. Are there going to be lowriders there? And I don't know if these people are just bugging with me or what.
Wait. So it's called
it's called Lowrider Super Show.
And it's a reptile show?
No, it's all about lowriders, like cars, like the cars that bounce and stuff. And I just get a random email like, is there going to be lowriders there? And I'm like, what are these guys? So finally I figured it out. Someone sent me like a link to something, and I thought it was pretty funny. So, and it's here somewhere in Southern California.
Oh my gosh! So technically, the furthest show you do right now is the LA area.
LA, yeah, and then next year will be Las Vegas.
Okay. So what's your game plan for having to commute further for that? Do you feel like you're going to have to put a little bit more? Like it's going to cost more money, obviously, right, to travel to Vegas versus LA, or
yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a little bit more. Well, everything in Vegas is expensive, just like everything everywhere right now is expensive. But yeah, it'll be a little bit more, but it's all right,
But Vegas, you could have venomous, or you cannot have venomous.
You can, but I won't allow it at the show.
So you won't have any venomous at the show. Why is that?
I for one, I mean, I respect. I've totally sketched.
Yeah.
But I totally respect a rattlesnake, a venomous, a gaboon. But I feel like, yeah, they're beautiful to look at. If there's a display where you could look at one, that's cool. But I don't want the sales.
Okay, Matt, how many animals were found at Schaumburg, like just on the floor? Like, I think
venomous?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying in general. No, I think there was a frog, like a gecko.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So just imagine if it's like, okay, if those fuckers are getting out, like, what
imagine
makes you
a rattlesnake
think a little tiny pygmy say, or like,
I'd be on the front news right there.
Some kid's like, I found a gaboon.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's my worst fear. I mean, I respect every venomous snake out there, but I don't want to ever touch one or be near one.
Rear fangs are fine, just so you know. Mangroves and false water cobras are allowed. Hognose, yes. Because I bought snakes at shows from Dan Mori, which I don't know. I hope he shows up. I don't know what he's been up to. I know he's killing it in Thailand.
He will. Dan.
He's gonna be there?
He's gonna be there.
Oh, he just dropped some heat.
Right there.
DM Exotics will be at the Anaheim Super Show. I am so excited.
Flying in from Thailand.
Bro, that's my favorite table to visit at your show. And there's a lot of good, don't get me wrong, a lot of good tables at the Super Show. But DM Exotics is the one place I go to and spend money at.
I agree.
Wow.
Dan and Apple, they're awesome. Awesome animals. Great cut. I mean, just everything about them is just so great.
They've been doing your shows for years.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And if I could say one thing about Dan, man, he's because ball pythons was the gateway to like everything you see in this room, right? But a lot of the shit I dabbled in, was the import game. I fucked with Dan. I was fucking with certain importers that just weren't nearly as good as Dan.
Yeah.
Like Dan would give me something, and if there was something like if it wasn't eating, like he gave me all the options in the world, or like. And his last thing after every option is like, you could send it back if you need to, And I'm like, this is the only guy ever said.
That's why he's one of the ones on top.
And nobody, like, I wasn't dealing with anyone who was talking to me like this. You know what I mean? So, oh man, Dan, I respect Dan on a whole nother level, and I'm really excited, man. I can't wait to see him in Apple. I really respect them, and the fact that he dipped out, he put in his work. Okay, so not only did he do his involvement with the animals, do the shows, grind, take and import fucking shipments, establish them, and then was a full-time cop. Or I don't know if he was a cop, but he was in law enforcement. I know that.
I think he works at a jail. Like he's actually like a jail.
A correction officer?
Yeah, correction officer.
I knew there was something in law enforcement, but he's retired now. And then he moved to Thailand. Living in some mansion with the fucking gym.
And built the most beautiful mansion. It's like this whole street is just like regular, like small little Thai home, in Thailand, small little homes, and then he's just got this castle that it's like picture perfect. It's beautiful.
What a life,
right?
Where he could just go out and herp anything he wants.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, think about it. You don't need a collection no more. You live in the collection. Like, Oh man,
really
if
cool.
I could, hey Matt, imagine walking out like you just roll the blunt, and you're like, I'm gonna go see if there's any white lips in the tree, or you know
a
what I
little
mean?
more nippy, but
Yeah, well, fuck it. Oh yeah, a lot more nippy. You're getting tapped. Cool. So that's awesome. That's really good to hear. Now I want to ask you this. I feel like with people, with the hobby growing and a lot of people getting attracted to what we're talking about based off YouTube, right? Have you ever thought about bringing in bigger breeders, like flying in bigger breeders, like Bob Vu? I talk about Bob Vu coming to the show, or bringing.
I would love Bob to come out. I just actually watched the podcast on your podcast last time with him, and he seems like a legit dude. He's awesome. I loved everything he had to say. I don't even know him. I've never met him before, but I know his name through the industry.
Yeah.
And no, I'd love for him to come out. That'd be one of the big ones to come out.
Bob is a huge player with USARK, and is real passionate about the shows itself, which really baffled me. I think as you heard on the episode, how, I don't know how many years, I think 8 years vending for Repticon, and then all of a sudden his table, like you're talking about like sonority, getting your table, right? They like put him in a weird different spot where it's like last minute, something like that happened. But to him, the shows are important to him. It brings a lot of people to the fucking table. Like there's a new show that they started called Show Me Snakes. Have you heard of that? Which I think is pretty cool.
I think his name is Mike Myers.
Mike Myers. Yeah, shout out to Mike Myers. Actually, he's somebody new that I follow on Facebook because his memes are fucking hilarious. He just makes me laugh, and he just has one of those like things I vibe with, But what do you know about Mike Myers? He's also a big part of what's happening with shows right now, right? Or I don't really know too much of him. I just I know him through Bob and other people, but
I don't know. I heard he's had great shows, but I don't know anything about them.
How new are those shows? Like
I don't know.
They're pretty new, right? From what I understand, because I feel like they're trying to be that new takeover right now and shit on Repticon because they're not too happy with Repticon. No one's really happy with Repticon, but
no, it's good. All the power to him and doing that to Repticon.
Nice. So now with the USARK auction, man, is there like a certain quota you guys try to hit each year now? Now that you have it, do you guys have a meeting? Do you get together? Do you try to like we come up with a plan to like raise as much money as as possible? Like how's that all go down with these USARK auctions? Like
it's just raising money to fight our rights to keep reptiles, and it goes all towards legal fees, travel fees for Phil. Phil does a phenomenal job at everything he does with networking, getting the right team behind, there's something in North Carolina one day, the next day something in Arizona, the next day something in Washington. It's all over, and he's flying to everyone to let them know. Like things like, for example, a city will say all exotic animals are illegal, and they'll have a list, and it's like elephants, tigers, alligators, and then randomly in there, it's pythons. And so Phil has to get out there and meet with the city council or the members of the city that or the senator or however he has to meet with that day, city officials, and explain to them a python isn't an alligator or a tiger, and you should change the wording. And I agree with the alligators and tigers and elephants, but you got to take this python off because there's a lot of kids out in this neighborhood in this city that keep a pet python. There's classrooms that have a ball python in there, and now you're going to say that these are. So he does a great job of doing that to bring awareness to all these little cities all across the U.S. That's very important for our future.
Well, because who else is going to speak up for us? He's
nobody,
he's
and he
doing
gets
all
on
the
a
dirt.
plane and he does it all himself. That's what all the funds for USARK is all for everyone in the United States. He does a great job, and I can't thank him enough. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. And again, if you guys don't know what USARK is or kind of want more information, go down to the description, click on the USARK link, become a member. And if not, talk about it, man. Because like I said, this is important. Phil's doing all the dirty work to make sure that we're able to keep these animals. Because I just don't, it could happen and anything's possible. But for somebody to be like, yeah, turn over your ball pythons, fuck. It's fucking Judgment Day if that happens. Like it's ridiculous. Modern warfare. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's why I do. This is why I'm looking for a house away from people. Like I want to be where cops are like, all right, I forgot there's a house even over here. You know what I mean? Like I'm just in my own little world. Now, okay, let's talk about animal keeping for you, man. Like I know you've always been affiliated with pet shops and now you throw shows, but are there any kind of animals that you like to keep at your house?
No, my wife doesn't let me.
So okay, she's not a fan.
No, so I have a couple snakes. I mess around with some ball pythons. I got some pieds. I have some. That's my favorite morph. I mean, who doesn't love a good pied ball python? You know.
True.
Leachianus geckos.
Okay.
I love those.
Yeah.
I have a bunch.
Those are the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those.
I've been trying to get into those. I mean, I know I'm like, okay, you don't have any time to add, like, especially pet wise. If I got it, it would be a pet, you know. But I do know that those need to be in a cooler room, right?
No. I mean, you know, this room's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't mind.
I know there's some, like, I wanted a Bronia really bad, but a Bronia can't be like above 72, you know, and they would die in this easily. But yeah, I like those, man. What do you feel like is gaining the most popularity at shows? The ball pythons, or do you feel like there's
ball pythons and boas are starting, you know, right now. The big thing right now is the I can't even think of the name right now. I'm drawing a blank.
You're getting secondhand high?
Yeah, I am. No, I'm just kidding. The isopods. Everyone wants an isopod. Dude. I mean, it's just like the craze now, you know. It's like it's wild and amazing what they've created, and that shit's cool. You know?
And they're going for a lot of money.
Yeah, they are.
There's like these orange ones that are going for like fucking $200. And like it's a small thing that could die by like the paper napkin squishing it. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know, but
it's a roly-poly, you know.
It's a roly-poly.
What is it, you know?
Can we just gather our own roly-polies? Or is that not the same isopod?
I think there is that gray one that we all have in Southern California, you know, that we all play with.
I've seen white ones too. Remember the albino ones back in the day? There's white ones.
There's white ones. My daughter told me the other day we saw a roly-poly at school, and I was like, that's cool, you know. Like when she told me that, I was like, all right, this kind of reminds me of me when I was a kid, you know, finding a roly-poly. And
I felt so bad for those bastards all the time as kids because they were so tiny and you could kill them so easily.
Kids roll them up and like roll them.
I was one of those kids. That was terrible. I'd feel so bad and I would still kill it. And I'm like, why do you do that? Like, God damn it. Like, you know, it's the cutest little thing in the world, you know what I mean? But they're just so fragile, you know? It's cool. You know, it's funny because I have monitors, right? And so, you know, insects is a huge part of their diet. Like, you want to keep it diverse as much as possible. So I'm trying to raise and breed grasshoppers. Fuck, that's not easy. That's hard.
I hate like you could give me a stack of crickets, roaches, superworms. I have a baby little grasshopper fly on me in a park or something. I'm like a little girl. I'm like, you know,
they're fucking crazy bastards.
Yeah,
they're like this big.
I hate them. They give me like.
Did you see them? Did you see the ones I
No,
have?
I didn't see them.
I'll show you.
No, I'm good.
They're finally breeding, but it took I killed like 3 batches of them because I was trying breeding them inside the trap. And I have the no pest strips hanging everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, why are these things dying? And I was like, I looked in the air and I was like, oh, shit. So anything airborne is going to die in that room. Mm-hmm. But I've had those things for fucking 3 months. And you're just now, and I'm talking about like maintaining this thing, feeding it lettuce every day. You know what I mean? Like on top of everything else that I do. And it's like fucking, they're just now barely starting to breed and drop eggs, which I don't even know if that's going to work. After they drop eggs, it takes another 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm like, dude, these fucking insects have been alive for like 7 months already. Like, when do they die? Apparently, they die at like 12 to 14 months.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I gotta check them out. I want to see them.
Yeah, they're big. You see the movie Ants?
No.
Is it the movie Ants where the grasshoppers are the bully?
Yep.
Oh man, you should like it's a great kids movie, but you'll definitely get creeped out more because it's a cartoon version of a crazy beefed out fucking grasshopper, slow ass motherfucker just stomping on ants and shit. It's pretty fucked up. But anyways, what's the one animal you're like, other than the grasshopper, which isn't really an animal, but is there any animals you're just like you just don't want to mess with? Like you're good. Like you don't hate them, but you're just like for me it's spiders. I'm not a spider person.
If I know the spider's not gonna like, you know, it's a tame tarantula, I don't mind if I like, you know, put on my hand and hold it and do that.
A wild one. Like
no. I mean, you know, keep away from them. You know?
Let's say you're let's say you're walking and there's a huge fucking spider in a tree that you're about to walk into. Would you just be like, oh, cool, or would you be like, oh my god, and walk away? I
don't think I'd be too like. I could tolerate it, but I'm not going to be freaked out. But I
didn't run into enough of them as a kid, huh? Do you remember playing as a kid and running in one?
No, I haven't never done that.
Oh my god, it must have been where I grew up. Did that happen to you as a kid, like running around as a kid?
Still happens.
Yeah, you run into a spider web
and I die every time.
Dude, oh my god! Especially like there's those spider webs that are thick. like there's thick spider
Yeah.
webs where you know the spider is a big motherfucker.
The horses, the thin ones, you can't figure out where it is and get it off of you.
Yeah, it's like you're like, wait, where is
And
this
you feel it on your
thing?
neck, and you're just like, dude, this is terrible. Oh man, like I said, my dad's a spider guy. Which, by the way, my dad's a big fan of you, dude.
Hey, your dad's super cool.
Yeah,
When
I
I
don't
met
know
him
if
that
he's
day,
in
I was
it,
like, man, it's like your bro, you know? Like
He's
when
like, dude, he's the fucking man. Like, you know what he does, right? Like he's the man. And I was like, yeah, dad. I was like, fucking,
well, he straight pulls up on his super bike, you know? And
Oh,
I'm
during
like,
Garrett's interview.
that was cool. That was really cool. No, your
Garrett
dad's
Harlow
the
was
man.
kind of, he was like, who the fuck? Because it was like a deep conversation they were having about something. I think it was USARK or something. But and then you're and then he wasn't letting off. You know, that's my dad's.
Came in
entrance
hot, your dad. It was funny.
That is a trip. Now, okay, it's funny I bring up Garrett Hartle. One of the biggest snakes kind of getting pushback. Like when I say pushback, market isn't the same, or like the bigger snakes, like the reticulated pythons and stuff like that. I did notice when I was at the last show that was in San Diego, which was the Del Mar show, or it could have been another show, but there's people walking around with like big snakes on their shoulders.
I don't allow that at the
I was
show.
going to ask you, what is your policy with that? Because I
Just
feel
so-
like
just-
how sketch is that? You know?
We don't allow it. Like all the animals have to be caged or contained during the entire show. And I stress that to a lot of vendors. And of course, if you're going to buy a ball python and you want to check it out and see its vent or look at, its eyes or, just hold it in your hand for a second, that's cool as long as they do it in their booth. But I don't want no one walking around with a snake on their neck, because there's grandma there walking around with her 2 grandkids having a good time, and she has a big fear of snakes. And next thing you know, she turns around and there's one in her face because this guy wants to walk around and be the cool guy at the show. No, it's not cool. And that's the whole thing behind like just responsible keeping. It's like if we're going to be a responsible keeper, we got to act like responsible keepers.
And I feel like, the one thing I would at least tell a customer of mine, I'm like, listen, don't take this out until you get home. Because if it's one thing I can't fucking stand is when you see a new purchase and it's out and the person has it on its shoulder, or it's just like, just being exposed. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things vendors could do that they could just put in, like, into their, like, their thank you pitch or whatever. Like, like
keep it contained.
Keep it contained.
Keep it contained and keep it out of the sun. That's the main thing, because people will drive home with it, out in the sun, and they got the window, on the dashboard. Exactly. This happened a couple of times where people come back and this thing didn't make it home. I sat on the dashboard and drove home and it didn't make it. Yeah, you cooked it.
Now, has anyone gotten a bad experience from a vendor who tried complaining to you about it? Like, have they tried like taking it to you?
They have. There's been a couple of times. One time, there was a vendor that sold him a gecko. It was a tokay gecko, so it was probably wild caught, and it wasn't that hot a condition. And when he showed it to me, it looked pretty much lethargic, like it was about to pass. And I went over there and I said, hey, he bought this gecko. And it was cheap. It was $20
So
gecko.
same day, huh?
It was the same day, but later on, like the kid had left and then came back. He probably paid for parking twice, which kind of sucks too. But I went over to the vendor and I told him, hey, this gecko doesn't look good. What do you want to do? He's like, sorry, no guarantees. That's it. All sales are final. I was like, how much do you pay for it? He's all $20. I'm going to give it back to him. He gave it back to the vendor. I pulled $20 out of my pocket and I gave it to the kid. Just because.
So that thing could die on his hands.
Just like, hey, take back your gecko. If you're not going to give the kid back the money, I will. I want the kid to have a good experience at the show. I could just see him leaving all pissed off, and he wasn't, I think he was there with his parents and he wasn't too stoked on the situation. And I was just like, let me just help out the situation here, and just make it a little bit better. But yeah, that's important because, like I said, the youngsters are the future. This kid could grow up and be a senator, a doctor, someone important in our society, that he had a love of reptiles and saw what it did for him. Right. And, change that so that USARK and Phil doesn't have to do so much work. That's important for the future.
Has the option or anyone ever suggested like checking IDs for purchases ever been like a thing? Like, have you ever had like a parent be like, yo, what the fuck, my 12-year-old came up with a green tree python?
No, we won't allow that. You got to be 18 to buy. Most of the time, if you're young and you're buying a reptile, you're standing there with your mom or dad. Right. There's barely a time where we're young, but we have in our rules that the person that purchases the animal must be 18 or older.
Right. Now, I remember we were talking about the one thing that sparked in your head about you wanting to start shows was you were on your way to a Daytona show. Mm-hmm. What's your experiences like going to Daytona shows? Is that was that a frequent thing for you? Or
no? So I've been twice, and the first time I just went to buy animals, and then And that was my first experience. And then the second time I went, I just went with a bunch of friends, you know, and after I started the Reptile Super Show, and I'll tell you a funny story is, you know, back, you know, we didn't have iPhones back then. This is probably maybe 2008 or 2009. We all, you know, little flip phones or whatever, crappy phones. I dropped my phone at the show, and I think I remember where I dropped it because when it fell, it went underneath the vendor's table. And I don't remember which vendor it was at, but I figured that was what happened because no one found it, and I called it all weekend. I called my mom. If anyone calls you, you know, this is before you have like a code to get into your phone.
Also,
you
anyone can put their SIM card in and use it.
And use it, yeah. So I figured that thing's long gone, you know. So I kept trying to call it, and then I figured it was gone. Then Monday comes around, and my mom gets a call from the promoter of the show, Wayne Hill, and he found the phone. And she's like, "Oh, that's my son. He owns the Reptile Super Show." I'm like, "Mom, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why did you tell him that?"
Didn't need to know that.
And then, so she gives him the address, and then she gives me the, you know. So then she calls me, and then I end up calling. And I'm like, "Hi, this is Ramy. Yeah, we got your phone." I said, I send you a label, whatever you want. I send it over a package for you, self-addressed. Just put the phone in there, close it up. And I didn't even care about the phone. It just had some contacts in it or whatever that I wanted. But I was like, just please, I'll send you. No. I'll take care of the shipping. No problem. Mr. Wayne Hill is telling me no problem. I said, I'll send you out a label. I'll PayPal you money, whatever. No. Don't worry about it. I got it. All right, cool. This guy's cool, you know. Week later, I'm like, fuck, where's my phone? 2 weeks later, I'm like, holy shit, like, is he going to send it? You know, like, I don't know if I should call him back or because I don't have his number. So I'm like, should I just call my phone again? Of course, no one's answering my phone.
Right.
Sure enough, here comes literally an envelope with some stamps in the corner. The envelope, like a white envelope, like you send like your electrical bill in. Like, It was just a white envelope with some stamps in the corner. That like
no padding, no
nothing. It was like, you know, the mailman comes in like, there's something bulky in this envelope, you know.
I'm surprised they shipped it still.
Right.
So we had a bunch of stamps on it?
Yeah, a bunch of stamps on it and handwritten
handwritten
on there. You know, I was just like, all right, that's cool. But I got my phone. But in that time, and they're getting another phone, you know. It's like, how many weeks can you go without a phone? You know, I did it almost 2 weeks. And so I ended up getting another phone. But, you know, no bad to Wayne Hill. I don't, you know, it's all good, you know. But I thought it was a pretty funny story, you know.
That is hilarious. And he's the one who throws the NARB.
No. Yeah. The one in Florida, in Daytona. Yep.
Okay, cool.
I think he's been doing it for 30 years or something.
That's a very OG thing.
Yeah.
I like I said, we're going next year for sure. But that's like a huge bucket list show. Other than Tinley, those are like shows because how much people who've been involved in this industry for so long still talk about those shows to this day.
Yep.
And I can tell you now, like the shows that you throw are the stuff that like Miguel, like this is the new generation. You know what I mean? And I feel like with a lot of the popularity happening on the West Coast, I feel like the super show is just gonna start fucking popping off. I feel like big things are about to come.
Yep.
Knock on wood that, you know, everything fucking.
Thank you.
Ain't no bullshit happening. But have you actually visited any other shows like Tinley?
I've been to Tinley. I've been to Tinley a few times.
Yeah. So, and then what do you take note of shows like that? I mean, I'm sure you go and you observe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, what do you get vibe wise compared, like demographic wise, right?
They're pulling from every state over there. You know, and everyone's there. Like just the whole Midwest is there. You know, I give it up to Bob and Brian. They do a great job. I respect
Bob
those guys
Ashley,
a lot.
Brian Potter,
Yeah.
the homies right there.
Respect.
Shout out to NARBC.
Yep.
Can't wait. I'm looking forward to we have Arlington next week. Well, first off, like I said, Anaheim show. That's going to be great. I mean, this is like show season, I guess you could say, right? Because end of the year is
I think
when
so.
we
Yep.
have a lot.
And the end of summer, animals are out of the egg and been fed a few times and now getting ready to go to new homes.
We'll speak about that. That way, I mean, January, is that still going down? Is there another Pomona or?
It's going to be a Pomona in January. It's like, I think the third week in January.
Wow.
But I remember people telling me back in the day, like, you're crazy to do a show in January. What are you doing in January? I said, why not? You know, like, you might still have some stock left over.
People are still having clutches. My clutches are still in the incubator. Like, I mean, and people are having late seasons.
Surprising. January is one of my busiest shows, you know, other than this one. This will be our busiest show for sure, you know.
Because this show's typically supposed to happen in August.
This was happening, you know, 5 shows ago, a year and a half ago, or
right.
almost 20 months ago.
But this one was actually scheduled in August or July.
It was scheduled in
July,
July in Pomona, and then they couldn't do it because of COVID. And then they, I just called up Anaheim and I said, because they're doing like COVID testing, COVID vaccines in Pomona, and they said they can't facilitate our huge crowd that comes in the parking lot. And they said, can we end up? I called Anaheim. I said, you got to help me out. These reptile people, they want a show, and they all want to get out of their cage, if you know what I mean, and go to a show, and we're ready. And she said, yeah, let me figure out a great date for you, because parking was kind of a situation because we bring in a large crowd. So she did it a weekend where there's only one other show there. It's a small show.
Right.
And so she said, last time we were there, we were like every single volleyball player, maybe south of the North Pole, wherever. I mean, just it was just crazy. It was every single volleyball player in the world was there, and there was no parking. And that was unfortunate. And so this time she promised me, like, hey, there's going to be ample parking and you should, be fine. There's just going to be one other small show. And so, and they're happy to be open again and everything going on. So
I didn't premeditate this. This just came to me right now, because if it's somebody we've already talked about that's making big moves in a different country, it's Miguel in Mexico. Like, he's creating a whole fucking audience.
Yeah, I saw his video and
blowing up.
People in the airport just like greeting him, got their banners up in the airport. I thought that was great.
What's our backyard?
Yeah, right.
How do you,
Mexico,
dude? What do you think about throwing a reptile super show in Mexico?
Yeah, why not, right?
Bro,
Miguel, call me up. Let's do this. I don't know how to speak Spanish.
He does.
I know.
You're your spokesman, bro. They love him there. He's like fucking like Benito Juarez right now.
You know what's funny is that the San Diego show, I advertised on a TV station in Mexico, in Tijuana.
You're already affiliated, bro.
I am. And they send me my commercial, and it's all in Spanish. It's like Reptiles. And
that is so hard.
If you pull my YouTube, it's on my YouTube channel. Yeah. So
pull that up, please. I'm dying to see this.
So and they tell me, how's the commercial? I said, I don't know. Does it sound good to you? Because I don't understand the word,
They can be saying, fuck this guy. Who knows?
Snakes are crazy and don't go to this shit.
Yeah.
But like one time I advertised in this Japanese magazine, and I just did it just as like fun, and I said, show me your boarding. It said on the ad, it showed an airplane going across. It said, show me your boarding pass and you'll get VIP tickets all weekends. And I said, the guy sends me the ad. I'm like, well, does it say what I wanted to say? He goes, yeah, it says it all. Well, everything's right. He's like, yeah, all right, just print it. Okay. And then sure enough,
with your boarding
three
pass?
people come, and they're three Japanese people, and they're holding their boarding pass, and they're like, arigato, Mr. Ramy, arigato. And they brought me all these gifts from Japan. It was so cool. I totally hooked them up on shirts and hats. And the next day I see them, and they got like the whole spread from the 7-Eleven, like little hot thing, like the little roller things and little hot dogs and frozen burritos. I'm like, why are you guys eating that garbage? Like, no, this is like great food for us. It was so classic. It was just like these people come all the way from Japan.
Bro,
they want to eat.
They eat so healthy over there. They eat
rice and fish and seaweed, and over here they just want 7-Eleven fast food. just like the junk of the junk.
God bless them.
Right. God bless 7-Eleven.
Yeah. God bless the Japanese for loving 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is such a staple for my life.
Oh, here it is. Here it is.
This is gonna be good.
It's great.
Classic. So
It's
these
great.
are still happening? Like, you still get these Spanish channels?
Yeah. When I do it in San Diego, and then in LA, when I advertise, I do one Spanish station up there, and they say it, like on their little, like a little 15-second before a commercial kind of plays or after a song plays, know,
Right.
or actually it's before like a new traffic and weather. Like, this report was brought to you by Reptile Super Show. They do that in the traffic, and traffic is crazy on this freeway. Or they probably say the 405 because it's always crazy on the 405.
The Super Show is actually on the radio too in San Diego, right? When it's I've heard it on 92.5.
Yeah, and I go to K-Rock in San Diego, and me and Lauren from Triple L, we go there. We bring big snakes and huge black throat monitor, and these guys love it. They make a huge thing about it. It's classic.
And that's what, every year? Or
Yeah, every year we do it. And we do it like a couple days before the show. We'll meet there and do it. And it's cool. I got friends that I haven't talked to in 10 years. They'll call me, hey, I just heard you on the radio. So it's cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's your family always like? What do they think about you making a life out of reptiles? Like, have they always been positive about it, or was it kind of like, were you like kind of like the black duck for it for a while?
No, I
like,
mean, my parents, like, my mom, of course, wouldn't let me get a snake when I was a kid. You know, I wanted a boa constrictor, and she was like, "No, we're not getting it." And then my parents ended up getting a divorce, and my dad said, "Hey, if you want to move in with me, you can get your snake and come move in with me."
Wow, what a bitch!
But he said, "Hey, you can't get that super bike, you know, the fast motorcycle you want. I ain't getting you that shit. But you can go get your snake, and you come live in with me." So that's what happened. And so
your mom was cool with it. She's like,
yeah, she was cool with it. She knew me and my brother were crazy, and you know, she couldn't handle us anymore. We were like 15 and 13, so you know,
That's a
young
good
punks,
age.
you know.
You fuck at that age,
Yeah.
man. Goddamn, I was going through a lot at that age.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So we ended up doing that, but you know, and then my dad's been to the Reptile Super Show once. He passed away in 2009, but
I'm sorry to hear.
but he came out and he knew it was big, but when he saw it, I could kind of see like he was a little scared, like,
But he was
whoa,
that big.
my son created this shit, and I took him upstairs to the balcony to look over, and he was like, you could tell he was pretty shocked.
What show was it? A San Diego?
San Diego show.
Wow.
I took him up to the balcony above and looked over, and I said, "Look, Dad, this is what I created." And he was like, and we walked through the show, and of course everyone's like, "Ramy, Ramy, Ramy," and he was like, "Wow!" It made him really proud, you know. At the end of it all, so it was cool.
You know, what a feeling, man.
Props
You
to
know,
my dad.
I'm close to my dad, and you know, anytime my dad has that kind of like look where he's like, you know, because he kind of does that when he walks into my rooms. He see me start with a fucking rack in my closet, and he was like, "What's your plan with this?" And then like, you know, you go a few months, and he come over and just keep seeing what it's evolving into. And you know, your dad will always fucking, if you're doing things right, you know, you're gonna feel like he's appreciating it, you know, and he's proud. So
yeah, when I told him I was starting a reptile show, he told me, he's all, "I don't know how it's going to do." I said, "Do you think I could do it?" He goes, "Do you believe in it?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Then I think you could totally do it and be successful at it, as long as you believe in it, you know."
right.
And that's one thing is like when you do something, he's always told me this: do what you love, do what you love,
Right.
and you'll be successful at it. You know, if you love fixing computers, go be a computer. You know, open up a computer repair shop or work for a company. If you love breeding snakes, go do that. If you love, you know, reptile, you know, whatever it was really pets at the time, and that's how I started in Petco,
Right.
and then slowly moved my way up and then into reptiles. But
It's crazy what doing what your passion is for a living, what it can lead into. Like it's scary at first, you know. You gotta understand. Like my wife, like she's the safe route. Like I'm like fucking let's go, I'm all in, and she's more like I'm practical, you know.
Mhm.
Bless her heart. Like she was like she believed that I was like I had this kind of vision and I had this sort of motivation behind it to like live out to what I fucking feel like what is feasible. But I feel like everything's possible when you have passion behind it. Like I have a fire in me that just like it's just fucking just lit, bro, because how passionate I am about working with animals that I always knew I loved animals, but I didn't know this was gonna happen. Like definitely didn't know I was gonna have a podcast. Definitely didn't know I would have you at my house sitting next to me, chopping it up about
and
your
I just
show.
live a few miles away.
And he just lives a
Crazy.
few miles away. And like, you know, and it goes even deeper because Forrest introduced me to him, which, you know, Forrest connected me with a lot of people in this industry, you know, and you know, you're definitely one of the biggest ones that I hold to heart, which is great, man. And let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about like, well, I don't know where I was gonna go. My mind was gonna.
That joint got you, huh?
I'm pretty lit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty ripped. But okay, let me ask you this. All right.
Yeah.
So do you do like when shows are happening, how much walking around do you do to make sure that everything is like looking how it should, or do you not really micromanage like that?
No, I definitely do. I do everything. I'm over there taking tickets, selling tickets, you know, checking booths, picking up trash, you know, checking I mean, yeah, I walk the show a lot. My feet on Friday and Saturday night, I say Friday night, maybe Saturday night, I can't walk. People watch me walking out of the auction, and I'm just like an old man. Like, you know, my feet are killing me, you know. One year I had to leave the auction early, and I had my friend drive me to a store just to buy a new pair of shoes. I need something more comfortable. Like I didn't know my shoes were so uncomfortable at the time, but I was like, you know what? I need to go get a new pair of shoes, or some insoles or something, you know. something.
You're on it. It's nonstop.
Yeah, it's
and
nonstop.
you're moving too. You're going left or right. You know what I mean?
And that floor is not soft. That floor is a hard concrete floor.
Yeah. Schomburg was concrete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
But I
thin,
think-
like a thin carpet.
Yeah,
Like a lobby.
that's a little bit nicer. I know Tinley's carpet.
Yeah, because if it's one thing everyone kept talking about Tinley is the carpet, like the distinguished carpet that they have, like
Mhm.
Tinley carpets, red or something like that.
Yeah, but no, San Diego's on carpet, but all the other shows are on concrete. And yeah, that destroys your feet by the end of it, you know. And then the saddest thing is like when I drive home Saturday or Sunday night after the show. That's like it just went by so fast. I'm just driving
And
home
you're like,
damn, like it's gone. It's just all over. Like Sunday night.
the anticipation
Yeah.
of getting there,
Yep.
and then it happens,
Yep.
and you're like, now what? And then
Yeah.
you just gotta wait again. It's just
Yeah,
a cycle.
yeah, exactly. And you know what we do? We're all friends. We all get together. We all do what we love. We all make money. And then when you have a great time and support USARK and support every vendor in there, it's great, just everything. It's one of the vendors told me, it's like you created a party for us all that we all get together and enjoy it and have a great time. It's pretty wild.
Like you said, man, I mean, you got to think everything is not everything, but most of the relationships in this hobby is established off social media. It starts off Instagram or Facebook. This is where I met you, right?
Mhm.
But then these fucking shows is where everything is like that's like the missing puzzle
Yeah.
to the complete relationship that
Yeah.
you just built with this person.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'll fly out, meet you at this show. Well, I'll meet you at this show.
Yep.
And you're just meeting at shows all the time. And I feel like who really established or still that kind of like behavior was Miguel. Like I saw Miguel going to all these shows and literally he had people following him. Like
Yeah, I seen it.
motherfuckers like, and I don't your AEP groupies out there, but like literally every show there they are. You know what I mean? And that's awesome because that's just like that's what you want.
Mhm.
That's the kind of shit you're trying to that's the kind of legacy you're trying to leave behind.
Yeah. Like the bar check or like these big vendors, even Cusco, he goes to the show. He has a big following. People come and say hi to him. I see him all day long saying hi to people and, taking a picture. So it's cool. Even you, so.
Dude, I want to get bar check at a super show.
He's been.
No,
He's
like
been.
recent.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't gone to shows. He's been avoiding shows for his reasons, right? But I feel like he's like this close. Like he's on the fence about Tinley. But man, imagine him in a West Coast show. You know what I mean? Like
He called me not that long ago, was interested in coming to one of the shows that was like, it was still like COVID and we weren't too sure. And then, after that show canceled, I remember he called me up and said, sorry, I had to cancel. And I'll definitely hit you up in the future. So there is some potential. Brian, hit me up.
I'll be talking to you, Brian. Come on, we gotta make this happen. Let's go. Now, I mean, have you seen the Reptarium he has? You see the kind of shit that he's doing over there?
Of course, I've seen it. I'm watching the videos all the time with that, just everything he's got there, the salt and pepper, the alligators, just everything about it. It's amazing. The whole setup, how he expanded it, everything. I love it.
Now, that's
Beautiful.
something. That's something when you see in person too. You're just
Yeah.
like, holy shit!
Yeah.
It's as clean as it looks.
Me and my friend, we were just talking the other day, like we should fly out to Michigan just to check it out,
Dude,
Like,
yeah. Hop on his podcast
Yeah.
because obviously you're killing it.
Yeah.
You're meant for these podcasts, bro. I'm telling you, you're killing it right now.
Thanks. So nervous before this thing. I'm like, fuck.
A lot of people say that, but you don't have to.
No, it's all good. You just you make it
conversation.
easy. Yeah.
This is great, bro. This is great. Now, I know we were talking about your future plans with the Reptile Super Shows, but like for anyone out there wondering, like, well, how soon could a Colorado show possibly happen, or the Vegas show? How soon could these possibly be put on the calendar?
Vegas is already on the calendar.
Oh,
It's already
sick.
booked.
What day?
September 10th and 11th, 2022.
Ooh, nice.
So it's actually like almost falls on the same weekend as Anaheim this year, but next year it'll be on September 10th and 11th. And that's already booked. And then we have Pomona, January 22nd, 23rd.
of the 2022.
Yeah, that's already booked.
So so let's go down the road here. So Anaheim, September. Then the next Reptile Super Show is
January 22nd, 23rd in
then-
Pomona.
All right.
And then we have, we haven't locked in an Anaheim date yet for the beginning of summer, but August 13th, 14th, maybe 15th, 14th, 15th, something like that. San Diego.
August, San Diego.
August, San Diego. And then September at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Okay. And so we're only going to have one Pomona or
I'm doing one Pomona, one Anaheim, one San Diego, one Las
Got it.
Vegas.
Okay.
4 shows, 4 cities.
So hold on. San Diego was in August, right?
In August, I moved it because we were always in July, and it
Right.
always was like really close to Comic-Con. and hotel prices are through the roof, and
Yeah.
and just everything is just crazy during Comic-Con.
So one thing about where we live, bro, like rooms could go from like, wow, that's fucking really cheap, to we're like, what's happening? Is there like something happening?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's what one year it happened where it was kind of close, and rooms were through the roof, like unbelievable prices. So yeah, we just moved it to we flipped the dates, and that was like during COVID when I took a year off. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna flip the dates and move it San Diego in August. It's a little bit nicer, and plus Pomona is pretty hot in August. Figure it's a little bit nicer in July. So
I mean, anywhere, if you're going to be anywhere on the West Coast in August, San Diego is where you want to be.
exactly,
Yeah, you don't want to be anywhere else. Because, I mean, it can get hot, but it's more likely going to be perfect. Like, during that
like every
time.
day, like every day in San
80
Diego.
degrees.
What's
You know?
up? What's
Oh,
up?
God, you got to love it, man. Man, but yeah, it costs to be down here, man. We were talking about it. It's not easy, bro.
Yep.
But it's worth it if you can make it happen. Now, okay, hold on. Just so I have my mind right on it. So Anaheim is going to be when? September? No. When is Anaheim next year?
I'm looking at sometime in the beginning of July.
Okay, so July. Okay, so
Yeah.
it'd be Anaheim, then San Diego.
Yep.
Okay, and then Vegas.
Yep.
Okay, great, man. So, how big of a venue is Vegas going to be compared to, let's just say Anaheim? Because Anaheim's big. So
That building is 6 acres, but I rent it in sections, so I can rent like the first half. The
how
second
many
half.
acres is Anaheim?
3.
Holy shit! So it's
si-
double the
it's
size.
double the size of Anaheim, which is massive. But I just rent it in certain sections where I could keep expanding. So he said, the first year, take the first half, or the first quarter, and then you can, you just rent by square feet over there. They're really cool over there. When I met the guys out there, they're really cool guys. So,
Damn, that's going to be interesting.
yeah.
One thing I hope that happens, with this COVID bullshit is like we get more Canadian people in the building, because if it's one fucking place that's popping with new hobbyists and even
Jordan,
JP is JP's in the building. Look,
right there he is.
coolest reptile show promoter in the entire business, right?
And I think he's coming out. We talked.
JP, you rolling or what?
Yeah,
Oh,
he better.
JP.
Yeah.
That's so funny. We were talking about Canadians. Here's JP.
Well, it's the only Canadian we know.
There's Billy, Mutation Creations.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There's Will Moros. There's Khalil 514. Bro, I know some Canadians. Bro.
Get out here, guys! Come on, what's
I'm
up?
telling you- no, but these guys like Will's coming. He's came to Pomona. Like I met some legit ass Canadian
I think
breeders.
he said his favorite too.
Yeah, Will Moros, which is fucking. This guy is like, I don't know if you know much about Royal Canadian.
I don't.
Dude, he's some. Let's put Aussie boys.
Yeah.
Aussie boys bite snakes from this guy. Let's just put it that way.
Oh wow.
And and this guy doesn't sell snakes. Anyways, he loves your shows. He's come to your shows. So like I'm saying,
Thank you.
hopefully once things chill out and traveling is a lot more feasible, man, Canadians know how to party too, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I would love to get them at a more Canadians at a super show, and bring them together. I think it's great. And then we get some Mexicans in there too.
There's a guy named Jim that he's he was on my Facebook and he's from Canada, but I told him, he said, I want to get the Reptile Super Show tattooed. Have you seen that tattoo? There's a Reptile Super Show tattoo. He put the logo on his calf.
Yes, I saw that.
And I made a post one time on Instagram or Facebook. I said, if you get the Reptile Super Show tattooed on you, you get free admission for life. And this guy, he said, hey, send me the logo, I said, you need a high def? He's like, no, just whatever.
Say whatever.
Pixelated, And he put that right on his calf. And so it's just great. Whenever he comes in. And I'm like, there you are, Jim. Let me see it. And he shows it to me. I'm all free admission. You and your wife, man. Thanks for coming. But he flies in from Canada. Super cool dude.
Does that hold for anybody?
Anybody. And then one time a vendor's like, what about a free booth? I'm all shoulder blade to shoulder blade. And you could get a free booth for life.
Damn,
So,
that's an investment right there.
That's gnarly right there.
Damn, that's what's up. You gotta love it, bro.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. How long ago was that?
That was, I'd say, maybe like 2013.
Oh,
He did that tattoo.
And did you ever talk to him again, or is he just like, is he gone?
He's
He's still involved with reptiles.
Yeah. No, now he works at a Home Depot. No, I didn't
he's collecting mineral rocks.
Yeah, right.
Fuck.
No, he's still in the hobby. He used to own a store, but I don't know if he owns a store anymore. But he's definitely still in the hobby. Once we're in your reptile, you're in the reptile. Even if you just got, a small little, snake in the corner of your house or a huge room like this,
I can tell you what though, man, just based off me being in this, and I'll tell you why I know this. So I got into this at the level, when I say at the level, meaning posting every day and like my stories, 2017 is how long I've been doing that.
Wow.
And I've gained relationships. I've gained with people who I supported in the beginning. They supported me, and then I just stopped talking to them. But I remember there was a time where, like, if it's one thing I try to make myself do is like I want to do less distractions, right? So like I try to follow people who are relevant to what I like, what I want to follow. Like simply, if you do something that I don't respect or like, I'm just not going to follow you with all respect because I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yeah.
So I try to keep myself like just making sure shit's relevant, right? So that being said, I just was like looking at the people I was following throughout the last 3-4 years, and I was like, dude, whatever happened to this person, right? So I would click on this person, and literally their last post was like 2018, right? Like, it's been almost 3 years since a post, and you look at their fucking platform, pictures every day, and it goes from something that was so consistent to just gone.
Wow.
And some of them actually turned out that the person was deceased. Like it turns out, like because I like looked into it, right? But then there's also a small handful of people who just stopped, and I feel like it's not common, but it is common. It's weird. Like I feel like people are so gung ho to want to get into something to make money. They chase to fucking make a logo. Let me do this. Let me do that. They don't see what they're exactly getting right away, and they just dip out.
Yeah, I see vendors come and go all the time, but a majority of them will still stay, you know?
Right.
Still stay and still continue to come every year. But always there's, a small percentage that leaves and then a small percentage of newcomers.
Right.
So.
But there are the ones that you see stick around.
Oh, yeah. The originals, the pioneer guys, these guys are.
And I feel like those are going to grow. I feel like there's pioneers becoming more established in this hobby by the day.
Yeah.
And I know that just because, like, my whole life fucking went from like, okay, I have friends in the DJ party scene to where I went cold turkey and just went from just making friends in the reptile community, which was all based off of reptile accounts. Like, wow, I like your shit. I like what you post. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, to really take those kind of relationships to the next level, you got to go to these reptile shows.
Yeah.
Got to go meet them in person. Because you know what I mean? A lot of these people you're friends with are friends with somebody else who could just elevate you even more, or you could just maybe just learn something, or I don't know, man. It's crazy how it all connects.
I was talking to a friend the other day, and I told him, he's my best friend. His name is Jay. But he's been in reptiles forever, and he told me, I said, hey, before social media, how did you show your snakes if you didn't want to like bring them to your room or whatever? How did you show? He said, well, when I go to the Herp Society, everyone would have their own like little flip book of their photos. Like, they cooked 35 millimeter film, had it developed over at Kmart, and then developed their photos and then put them in the little photo book. And then when they go to the Herp Society or, the Herp meetings, they show them, like, this is what I got. This is what I'm working with. Then check it out, And it's funny how now it's like, it's like it's all on your phone. Everyone's just flipping through photos, checking it out, and seeing thousands of photos a day. Where that time it was like, okay, we're meeting up once a month. I'm gonna look at your little photo book or something. It's wild what it's turned out to be. Or at the Herp Symposium, the big one that goes around that Bob Ashley's a part of.
Yes.
One of the guys up there, he was talking about when he was a kid, and he's talking about maybe in the 40s and 50s, there was like magazines, and in the back it would be like, buy this snake, send over an envelope with $5 in it, and I'll send you out a snake.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, I was just putting $5 in an envelope and sending it, and every day the mailman would come, I would look, no package. And one day there would be a package, it'd be like 3-foot black rat snake, and he'd just be like, yeah, I took it out the box and bit the shit out of him, and he tamed it down, he got it in a cage, it got out, and he found it again in his house. And he's just like a little kid, back in the day, but that's the way that they were getting reptiles back. And he was explaining the story, and I was laughing. I thought it was so amazing, This guy's 80 years old up there talking about it, but It was really cool to see what he was talking about, how these kids used to get reptiles back in the day.
So they were shipping animals back in the day. Like you could get animals to your doorstep.
Do your doorstep on United States Postal in a small box. It was just like there was no rules back then, And then there was no. It wasn't like, hey, get this. It was just get this snake. Get a snake to your door. It's just like, and whatever species it could be, whatever, a garter snake to a king snake, a rat snake. So,
how many animals did you actually get through the mail, or were you just getting mostly pictures?
No, that was me. I wasn't on that. That was this guy in the 30s or in the 40s. He was talking about like an old dude that was talking about it. But it was cool. It was just one of the guys doing it at the Herp Symposium talking about it. But no, me, it was just, I just get my snakes, they're sent to me in FedEx, normal box, ship your reptile, however it goes.
It's crazy how it shocks people to find out that we could ship an animal.
Ship an animal.
I'll never forget the day. What's funny? On this computer, 2000, when I got my first reticulated python in the mail, it was my first snake ever received in the mail. I set up my phone. It was my very first YouTube channel I was going to do, even though I never posted that video because I was embarrassed by it. But bro, I'll fucking never talk about that feeling like Christmas, like a kid. You know what I mean? Because you go from like finding out how big of a world the snake shit is, and then you find out that you could get this shit delivered to your doorstep. And that's when I found, dude, it was like a fucking opening up a gateway to fucking like just an obsession that, goddamn, you got a little too out of hand at one point. But just the idea how like something you fantasize over is now at your doorstep. And sometimes the assholes don't even knock; they just leave it at your doorstep. I'm just like, which pisses me off. That's why I always I go to the hub.
I go to the hub too.
Hub all the time.
You go 47?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're ghetto there,
yeah,
bro. Now they know me, they don't ID me, but I remember before, bro, there were some and they would know it's an animal, and they would just either make me wait longer, but now it's like
now when you go there in the morning, it's all the reptile people there,
cool. Oh, what's in here?
Yeah.
Oh,
what you got? I got
you want to show?
Yeah,
There's a lot of animals coming in.
I was there one time, 47th, 9 a.m. They open the doors. I go in, and this other guy's getting a box of some turtles. He's like, look at me. He's like, I know you. Well, you do? He's like, yeah, you're the reptile show guy. I'm like, yeah. He's like, it was just pretty funny. So,
bro, I mean, I can't even tell you. Okay, when I was getting rid of my mainland retics, I sold like a lot of almost all. I only have the super dork now, but I had to go to Delta because some of them were big, so I had to ship out through Delta. And I remember waiting there. Some guy came in with like a box crate, and I was like, "What does he fucking have in there?" And this motherfucker breeds toucans, like Fruit Loops toucans, and I couldn't believe that's my favorite bird. And he's like, he lives in Humboldt. His name's John, and he has like a facility where he just breeds the most craziest exotic birds.
Wow.
And it just made me realize like how many fucking sick ass animal people probably live in San Diego just because we have the weather for it.
Yeah,
like, we have the best weather, bro.
We do.
People try to claim Florida, but fuck that. Florida's great tropical. If you like heat and you like humid and you want to feel like you're in Mexico or like somewhere tropical, yeah, that's why a lot of old people retire and just go live there. But bro, that 24/7 humid shit, bro.
Yeah.
Where we're at here, there's no place like San Diego, and I'm not just saying that because I live here and because there's 24-hour taco shops. I'm being for reals.
The best taco shop.
The best taco shops, real beans, not in a can. I'm telling you, like, man, Matt, can you just say yeah?
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it's the truth.
It is the truth. I'm telling you about it. That's why I will never leave. What's crazy is like, man, me and my wife, we've been shopping for houses and we're just kind of like comparing things like, all right, what can 700,000 get us here in San Diego? And then like my sister was in Washington, right? And I was like, I love Oregon. So I was like, let me just see what 700,000 gets you in Oregon.
Crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Acres.
My own lake.
Yeah.
My own fucking lake.
You don't want to do that. I do that. No.
My God.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I leave San Diego, I leave all my plugs. I leave my weed man. I leave fucking my taco shops. I leave like my homie who lives like only 10 minutes from me, like the homie Matt, like, so that's why, if we stay like we're looking Temecula, like, just being within an hour of San Diego is feasible.
Yeah.
But living in a whole other state, which I've done before. I lived in Texas. I lived in Pennsylvania. I lived in Washington. There's no place like San Diego.
Oh, I have a good friend. He moved out to Alabama, and he's always sending me these links to these houses that are like lakefront, unreal, 200,000. He's like, look what you get. Just buy a second house. Just move out here for a little bit. I'm just like, no, I don't want nothing to do with Alabama. As much as, respect the people in Alabama.
No, not even, okay, so shout out to Marshall Mendez. Marshall Mendez is from Alabama, and he's even like, fuck Alabama.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't get any help out here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm all by myself. I was like, damn.
And he just wants to move out. I said, no, you need to just move back to San Diego. And it's funny because his sister ended up moving out there, and all she posts about on her Facebook is taco shops. She's like, taco shops.
Dude, once you have it here and you go anywhere else.
Where's your spot? Is that the one next to Starbucks right here?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, okay, my spot is La Posta. So La Posta is right here off of Spring Street.
Okay.
But like my actual, and that's the spot I go with my wife. But I have another spot that she doesn't like that I love, and that's La Puerto. And that's the one, it's in the hood off of Bancroft by 7-Eleven and they're cash only,
Love
bro.
it.
And their beans, like, dude, it's. I mean, okay, if you never had refried beans, this could scare you. But the beans has like a layer of oil,
Ooh.
and it's like that's when you see that oil layered on the cheese,
You know it's real.
dude. Just the beans themselves could be a meal. Like it fills you up that good. But anyways, bro, yeah, we just have amazing.
Best taco shops.
We love it.
Yeah.
And if you know to order,
Even LA doesn't have great taco shops. It's weird.
no, there's a whole.
LA's
other,
like
LA does not have it
Yeah,
right.
it's not. It's like some different kind of.
They can't even get tortillas right
Yeah,
up there.
exactly.
Yeah, it's. I'm telling you. And have heard. Okay, my sister's pretty like she's huge on Mexican food too, right? And she said like there's like in Washington, like it's not huge, but there are like a couple bangers, like. So like there are certain spots, but for some reason LA, no.
Yeah,
It's all super like commercial mainstream. Like if you were like in Palmdale or some shit, you know what I mean? No offense to Palmdale, Miguel, but you guys ain't got real Mexican food over there either. I've been there.
My wife just texted me, grab some Mexican food on the way home.
Don't worry. Okay, so it's a tradition. After every podcast, I get a California burrito.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how I know it was a good podcast.
Perfect.
But I have one more. I have a wrap up question before we get into the hot seat questions. Okay?
Oh shit.
Because everyone has to get hit with the hot seat
Okay.
questions. All right, with all due respect. But we were talking. One of the popular topics I have during my podcast is how big hobby's growing, right? But there's so many ways to learn bad habits and good habits. With keeping animals, especially when like trying to start a social media platform, right? So with your experience being into this industry, like what would be some maybe good practices or maybe some good tips you have for somebody new wanting to get exposure with animals, but just doesn't have the experience yet, or just doesn't know how to like put forward that, and it doesn't need
Just don't be that douche online that just gets on there and just, does dumb stuff. I hate
for
that.
attention.
Yeah, just attention, or just like, if someone's like, my animal's sick, I need, the guy's like, put in the freezer. I hate that. It's like these guys are coming out here for asking for help, and it's all negative comments, and then I feel like if someone gets up there and puts something positive, they're almost scared to, because there's just a lot of like trash talking, jokes, things like that. And it's like, don't be that guy. And then maybe someone will take the time to like private message the guy, like, hey, hit me up. I could totally help you out, like do that. But I feel like a lot of people aren't going to get on there and say something, but just be the positive guy and never burn a bridge, like me, I could walk down the street and know no one's talking shit behind my back. And that's really important, like respect and love everyone. That's what I do with every person that comes to the show. Everyone I respect and talk to them, and just love everyone.
Everyone love everyone.
Yeah, that's it.
What about Bob Smith?
I don't know Bob Smith.
You just say fuck Bob Smith.
Bob Smith. He's all right. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck, dude, you can't do. We're done. Cut it, man.
That's it.
I'll give you the breakdown on a Bob Smith story later. But anyways, man, listen.
I hate Bob Smith, by the way.
He's not a person. It's actually it's like a lifestyle, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not. It's a disease.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah. Fuck. All right, man. Hot seat questions for the homie Ramy before he dips out. And yeah, man, if we want to talk about JP, he's a good guy, but he kind of explains a little too much. And his hot seat questions took an hour. We don't need any explanation.
Yeah.
Just whatever you prefer, man. Just
right there.
Yeah,
Boom. It's
yeah,
got to be like fast, like
it doesn't have to be fast, but I don't need your reason behind it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just whatever.
Yeah, it is what
Cool.
it is.
Let's do this. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Hot seat questions coming in hot. Reptile Super Show status. Here we go. Frozen Thought or live?
Whoa.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Live knocked out.
So pre-killed?
Yeah.
So live, and you want to murder it.
Pretty much.
All right.
Some of my snakes don't eat frozen thought. I don't know what the deal is, and they're too expensive to get hurt. So yeah.
So like if you had to pick one or the other, you're gonna go live.
No, I'll keep trying frozen, of course.
But like I'm saying, like shit were to come down, and you're not allowed. You can't do both. You have to pick one or the other. Which one would you have to pick?
Thawed.
Okay. All right. So frozen thought. A cut or no cut?
No cut. I don't know what that even means.
Like when the bait. Okay, let's just say it's like day 50 something on it.
No cut, of course.
No. Okay. No cut, of course. Okay. Big flexor or no flexor?
Like just in regular life, like
Just
just
flex your life. Yeah.
No flex.
No flex. Respect. He's lying. Sports or no sports?
No sports.
Oh, wow. Okay. Steak or fish?
Steak.
All right. Red wine or white wine?
Neither.
Okay. Alcohol or no alcohol?
0.
Oh, respect. I'm telling you, body feels good after a while.
Right?
Eminem or Machine Gun Kelly?
Eminem.
All right, cool. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
All right. Loving it. Loving it. A little word association. First thing to come to mind, milk.
Cookies.
Yes. Cocoa.
Butter.
Stuck shed.
Damn it. I hate it.
Ovulation.
Let's go.
Day 55.
Where are they? Why aren't they coming out yet?
All right. You have to get one. You have to get rid of one forever, and I mean forever.
Okay.
Instagram or Facebook. Which one would you get rid of?
Facebook.
Done.
Did it all right?
Yeah,
Did it all right?
100%. Killed it. Killed it. Other than the first two, but you're good. Dude, you have mad supporters out there, man. All the way from even Canada fucking with you. So what do you have to say to everyone who was tapping in, everyone who's excited to go to the show, meet you, all your supporters? What do you have to say to them?
Be positive and love each other. That's it. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy and make sure you realize what real Mexican food is.
San Diego.
That's
Come to
San
San
Diego.
Diego. We'll show you what's up.
Don't try to sit here saying California all has good Mexican food because you're just capping. You're giving people false hopes. Come to San Diego, and that's where the real Mexican food is, and that's where the real fucking Reptile Super Show owner is at. And thank you so much for this, man.
Thank you, brother.
Mad love. I can't wait. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for
Reptile Super Show. We'll see you.
tapping in.
Yeah, we'll see you here.
And yeah, man,
Don't miss it.
be positive. Don't be a dick.